Hello everyone, hope you're all having a good day today, and welcome back to Mothman Media, where we always remember to lock our doors before we turn in for the night. That way, it doesn't get in. Speaking of monsters that lurk in the darkness, ever since it was first released in theaters, I had heard that Ryan Coogler's Sinners was something special. But, like usual, I was a bit late to the party and didn't get around to seeing it until late October of last year. As soon as the film concluded, I knew that everybody was right. It's hard for me to think of a film that does anything quite like what Sinners does, combining different genres of film I wouldn't have thought would work together, but in reality fit together perfectly. As a history major with a love of musicals and a growing appreciation for the genre of horror, it almost feels like this film was handcrafted for somebody with my specific interests. And with the recent unveiling of the 2026 Oscar nominations, it's clear that I was far from the only person who connected strongly with this film, with Sinners breaking the all-time record with 16 nominations. It's absolutely no secret that this is one of the most well-acted, written, and crafted films of the last several years. And if I were to talk about the entire film from start to finish, there's no way I'd be able to get this video out in time for the Oscars. So if you'd like to hear a more in-depth take on the film as a whole, I'll leave links to a few videos in the description below so you can get caught up if you aren't already. But for today, there's one particular aspect of the film I would like to discuss. I've seen a few people touch on it already, but I feel like it deserves to be talked about more in depth. That element being the film's music. Specifically, the decision to use both original music as well as pre-existing tunes in order to help define a character's motives, wants, and desires. Specifically for this video, I like to talk about the music being performed by everyone's favorite, surprisingly inclusive Irish vampire, Remick.
Free hugs!
As I began to look more into this film, I realized something interesting. Every single song performed by Remick and the other vampires is a pre-existing song, whereas every other human character sings original music. This may seem like an odd choice, until you consider one of the main themes of the film: cultural assimilation versus cultural identity. The vampires and sinners not only serve as the primary antagonistic force of the film, but also represents the idea of losing touch with your own culture in order to be accepted by a society that acts hostile towards you and your cultural heritage, as if that greater society is sucking you dry of everything that makes you special. Now the choice of having this be a vampire film makes a little bit more sense, doesn't it? But to hopefully prove my point, let's take a look at the three main songs that Remick and the other vampires perform throughout the film. Of all the songs the filmmakers could have chosen, why specifically these three? Well, let's take a look at how each one is utilized throughout the film, starting with this first scene begins with Remick and his newly turned companions, Joan and Bert, attempting to gain entry to the Juke, claiming that they heard tale of a party. After their motives are questioned, they claim that they just came here to play. Playing out in a genuinely funny scene where Remick looks legitimately offended when Smoke asks if he's a member of the clan. As if he's like, I may be a brooding, blood-sucking creature of the night, but I'm not a monster. They then attempt to gain the trust of the group by performing a folk cover of Pick Poor Robin Clean, but it's not enough to win the group over, and they eventually head off, making sure to leave slowly in case they change their minds. While the main purpose of this scene is to introduce the main antagonists to the heroes and create the foundation of their eventual conflict, there's actually more going on in this scene than what first meets the eye, and it all revolves around the music. Specifically, the choice of song. Pick Poor Robin Clean is a blues song originally performed by Luke Jordan in 1927, and later performed by Lily Mae, Getchy Willie, and Elvie Thomas. I think this song choice is significant in a few ways. For one, Remick choosing to use a song originally performed by black musicians in an attempt to get into a black-run establishment as a way to gain their favor makes sense on some level as sort of a musical Trojan horse. And secondly, while the original meaning of the song's lyrics are still debated today, within the context of the film, hearing a bunch of vampires singing, I picked his head, I picked his feet, I would've picked his body but it wouldn't fit to eat, seems a little on the nose. Especially given the brief reprise of the song we hear when the vampires are about to attack the Juke.
Pick poor Robin Clean, and I'll be satisfied having a family.
Lastly, this moment also shows one of the downsides of assimilation, that being appropriation. A group of people taking something, such as a piece of music, that wasn't theirs and using it how they want to. It makes the fact that they chose to perform this song to gain the trust of the black patrons of the Juke hit in a slightly different light. taking something that was theirs and twisting it into something they can use to get what they want. The patrons of the juke are basically watching the effects of assimilation play out in front of them in real time. And this one moment is basically the film's entire message about cultural identity versus cultural assimilation in microcosm. It manages to introduce our leads to our main antagonists and set up the film's central conflict, while also helping to push the film's overall message of fighting against cultural assimilation by showing what could come of their work if they let it, allowing the greater majority to go through something that was once theirs and now use it how they please, almost like a vulture picking the bones of a dead animal. After she and Stack's heartbreaking exchange, Mary heads outside the juke where Remick, Bert, and Joan are waiting. As she approaches, the group starts to play a rendition of Will You Go Lassie Go / Wild Mountain Time. As they finish, Mary sits with them, claiming she came to see if they had any money to spend, to which Remick hands her a small pile of gold coins he says are from
a different place and a different time.
He then claims that money isn't what she needs to solve her problems, citing the real reason she came out here to be a longing for companionship. After sensing just how off the vibes are, Mary attempts to leave, but before she can, there's a few things I'd like to bring up about this moment. For one, the song itself. Will You Go Lassie Go was written by Francis McPeak and first recorded in the 1950s, and is based on a poem by Robert Tannehill entitled, I'm just gonna put it up on screen. The story of the song features a young man attempting to persuade his lover to join him in the rural countryside where they can live in harmony with the land and with each other. It's a peaceful and quite beautiful love song. However, the way it's used in the film makes it feel a lot more sinister. It's less of a traditional love song and more like a group of sirens beckoning their next victim into their clutches. In addition, this moment helps to flesh out what Remick wants and what he thinks he's doing for people. Considering all the themes of togetherness and companionship present within the song, it indirectly tells us that Remick is looking to build his own community where they can all live in peace together. Also, there's one key detail that I noticed that makes this whole scene even creepier. We see throughout the film that Remick has the ability to sense things about people, and after sensing Mary's internal conflict, he decided to exploit it in an effort to try to convert her. So once he sees Mary approaching, he knows just what song to play. By appealing to her desire to feel like she has somewhere she belongs, he hopes to make her an easier prey. Remick chooses to play this song specifically because it expresses something that Mary wants but can't have, luring her closer with the promise of being able to give her what she wants the most.
We came over here for fellowship and love.
Fellowship and love.
In addition to all that, this moment also gives us some clever foreshadowing of Remick's Irish origins, not just in the song he plays, but take a listen to the background music.
It's from a different place and a different time. But it spins just the same. You can have it, but it's no good to you.
It's no good to her.
Mm-mm.
Well, what makes you say that?
It seems like as good a segue as ever to start talking about In the months since its release, this moment has become arguably the most famous scene in the entire film, and it's easy to see why. I remember sitting in the theater watching this scene for the first time and thinking to myself, you know, maybe getting turned into a vampire isn't so bad if this is what they get up to at night. But this scene is especially memorable not just because it's a bop, but also for what it brings to the rest of the film. For one, it reveals that all of the juke patrons who tried to leave got turned, resulting in a genuinely chilling moment as you see everybody dancing around Remick in the distance as the song begins. This moment re-establishes just how much of a threat our heroes are now dealing with and shows that they're now vastly outnumbered. But there's still a lot of character work happening here as well. If you look at the film's soundtrack, you'll see that the entire song is over 3 minutes long, but in the film, it's maybe half of that, meaning that what we see in the film is only a small portion of the whole thing. And that makes this detail even more fascinating. Out of all of the verses from this song, why did the filmmakers decide to keep this one specifically? Well, the story of the song follows an Irishman leaving his home behind to make it in the big city, and among many trials and tribulations, after arriving in England, he's mocked for his nationality, which leads to a scuffle. Now, why is this important? because in this moment, Remek is showcasing that he on some level has faced similar scrutiny and mistreatment due to his nationality that our leads have. Something that Remek himself confirms later in the film when he says,
Long ago, the man who stole my father's land forced these words upon us. I hated those men, but the words still bring me comfort.
However, if we finish this verse, we get one more critical piece of information. The song ends with the POV character getting helped by fellow Irish immigrants and overcoming the odds together. Now, doesn't that sound similar to the way Remek pitches the idea of being vampires to our leads? As a way to overcome prejudice and form a community that will stand with each other in the face of discrimination? A group that can overcome any obstacle and find peace and joy in a place where such luxuries are rare for people like them? However, there's another moment in this number that addresses one more important aspect of Remek's motivation. That being... Watch this scene again and tell me if you notice something interesting. There's a tiny but very important detail hiding right in plain sight. Out of all of the characters in this number, Remek is the only one doing an Irish jig. While he may have a newfound group of vampire brothers and sisters, this moment shows that culturally, he's still very much alone. The big vampiric hive mind is fine and all, but he longs to reconnect with his roots he lost touch with due to assimilation, which is why he wants to assimilate Sammy into his crew. This one moment shows that even if it seems like you have everything you could want, it can all mean nothing if you have no connection to your original identity. This moment shows us through a musical number that first seems like nothing more than a spectacle, the feeling of loneliness and a longing for connection through a shared culture or heritage people can feel. Something that in the past, Remek gave up in order to survive, and he wants to reconnect with in the present. And something that our heroes are willing to fight and die for to ensure that their culture thrives into the future. I remember walking out of the theater after watching this film and thinking to myself, I need a minute to sit with this one. There was so much thought and effort put into crafting this film that there was no way I could discuss everything that went into it. If you can take anything away from this video, please let it be this. Original IPs can still be successful in today's media market, the movie musical is still alive and well, and most importantly, please go watch Sinners for yourselves. I promise you won't regret it. Now if you'll excuse me, I need to go mentally prepare myself in case this film doesn't sweep the Oscars. In the meantime, if you'd like to see more content in the future, please consider subscribing. It's free, and I'd really appreciate it if you'd stick around for even just a little while. But that's all I've got for now, but I hope I'll be seeing you all again real soon.